during the last 5, 7 years, maybe decade, at least in the Western societies, in culture, we have been inundated, bombarded with the danger, quote unquote, the poison of shame. And as is the case with pretty much anything that is given so much attention and is being pushed by, well, the media, documentaries and docuseries and Netflix, of course, TED Talks, things like that, shame has become a taboo. Shame has become something that modern culture is supposed to shun. It's something terrible. It's something bad. It is delimiting. It is minimizing. It is hurtful. It is bad. It is horrible. It has to be cut off. And as is the case with pretty much anything, when you have such a staunch position against it, oftentimes what happens is people neglect to consider the other variables, the other circumstances, the other factors. Causality, again, is key. In Buddhism, it's all about causality. All the conditions that are taking place. It's never just one thing that's happening. But there is one thing that is detrimental to our understanding, and that is ignorance. So this whole talk about shame is bad. What it has done, unfortunately, successfully, one might add, is that it threw the baby with the bathwater. What I mean by that is, people completely put away the thousands of years of evolution that brought about cultures, civilization in different parts of the world. Whatever good things that have survived were the result of restraint. Shame is a big part of that. Basically, society needs healthy quantities of shame. There is, of course, toxic shame, and I totally understand that, and we have to be very well advised that there is such a thing as toxic shame. But that is not what is being represented, what is being talked about, what is being pushed. And if you're living in a culture that worships words rather than acknowledging realities of behavior, of people, not words, then you have this whole woke anti-culture thing that is de-evolving us, okay, to the lowest levels of what we can become. So it's no surprise that we have a society without brakes. Imagine, I've said this many times. Well, here's the question. Would you put your loved ones in a car? Would you drive? Or would you have somebody drive your loved ones, your children, your daughter, your son, your mother, your wife, your husband, your loved ones, in a car that doesn't have any brakes? That is our culture today. Anything goes. Anything goes. A few days ago, they did the Olympic opening ceremonies, I think. During the last 30 years or so, what I've discovered is, if you want to see how bad society has become and how far it has left, basically, civilization is going down, basically. You look at the Olympics opening ceremonies. I remember in the 2012, I think it was 2012, London Olympic ceremonies, I was noticing these things that looked like viruses. You know, I used to be a biology teacher. I've said this in the past. And I would have the students every once in a while for extra points to build these models of different, organelles and cells, entire cells, within, inside of them, organelles, this and that. And they would also make sometimes, because they like the structure of a virus, because it's cool, it's almost like a robot. But I saw these huge things at the Olympics opening ceremony in London. I was like, what is this? And then I saw these actors, dancers, wearing the outfits of nurses and medical professionals, running around, pushing hospital beds around into this field, this huge sports arena where they're having this opening ceremony for the Olympics. And then I think I remember there were children there also on some of these beds. Appearing sick children, and they're all laughing, dancing. I said, what is this? I was like, who's like the sick creative directors? It's never one person. And then about 7, 8 years later, we see what happened a few years ago. So I don't know what's going on, but there's a connection. A few days ago, people let me know, oh, Bhante, this thing, Leonardo da Vinci's last supper of Jesus with the 12 apostles, the famous painting, mural, in fact. It's a beautiful painting. They just recently allowed the public to see it. It's beautiful if you get a chance to go see it. They've done renovations, this and that, but anyhow, it's in Milano. I went and saw it 6 years ago or so. So what they did was, during the Olympics, some geniuses got together, and because everything is going really horrid in society, and anything that has any value, any high esteem, some thing that has people having respect towards it, they want to tarnish it. They want to sully it. They want to dirty it. And guess what they did? They got a whole bunch of drag queens, this and that, sick people, basically, mentally sick people, enacting that noble, that religiously meaningful, and meaningful also for billions of Christians and people of faith, disrespecting them. No shame at all. And then some people obviously were offended by that, and they should be, And they, the Olympic Committee, the people who were designing, or the creative directors, we apologize that some people were offended, that whole apology thing, which is not an apology. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way type of an apology. But we are glad that the creative objectives were reached by that. I haven't seen it. I've seen pictures of it. People had sent me, but deplorable what humanity has been doing. And governments are behind this. There's a big movement to drag our humanity down into the gutter. There is a big intentional. This is not happening randomly, okay? You look at every facet of our society, every facet, everything. This is happening. Humanity is being, our civilization, our culture, anything of value is being run to the ground. They've been doing that with education. They've been doing that with all the health sciences. And the one thing that a person has is their own integrity that no one can touch unless you allow them to, unless you subscribe to their own ideas. So when they come up and they say there are many, many different genders, in fact, it's up to you. Such people should be placed behind bars. In fact, they should be sent into an island and it should be completely locked off. It's like they can't do any more harm to anyone. Let them die out, basically. These are horrible, horrible things that they're doing and being allowed to. It's like a locomotive. It's a huge, powerful, like a bullet train that has gone off the rails. In fact, it has no brakes, no shame. A society without shame is a locomotive that is going crazy. It's like an airplane that is, or like a bus that is going maximum speed, full of 8.5 or 9 billion people, without any brakes. That's what we are. So long as we are continuing to subscribe to so-called artists or musicians or movies or themes, that you just watch any even documentaries on Netflix. There's an agenda. There's perversion left and right. There's fear-mongering. There's nothing healthy. Nothing healthy. A few years ago, they were pushing this word, diversity, diversity, diversity. And I was like, okay, holding at the edge of my seat, just like, okay, I wonder where this is going to go. Anything that lacks a sense of healthy shame and wisdom, you're going to be destroying whatever it is that you're claiming whatever wholesome thing you're claiming that you're pursuing. And that's why all these people are not just damaging, they are seeking the demise, the death of culture. Without a sense of shame, healthy shame again, healthy. It has to be supported by understanding. It has to be able to have basic common sense, which today we do not. When a father is accompanying his teenage daughter to a concert that he had to work for, I don't know, a whole month to secure the tickets for, and he's saying, I'm taking my daughter to go to that concert, and that singer, whoever it is dancing like a vulgar, half-clad, maybe almost nothing, and moving in a way where it is very seductive, very sexual. This 10, 12-year-old child, what do you think are going to see? What do you think your children are seeing on their iPad or on their TikTok accounts? You who are calling yourself a modern family, modern father, modern wife or mother, aren't you going to instill some sense of healthy shame in them? If you don't, there goes our society. And in fact, it is going, if it hasn't already gone. So shame is an absolute must to have. You go to any Western country, you see this nowadays. Any and every Western, not just Western, but I'm just saying Western because that's where I've been recently. There's no, you see barely 10, 12-year-old girls. Everything is exposed. Smoking, like a barely 10 or 11-year-old child. Speaking with so much vulgar, behavior and lewd remarks, talking with each other with cursing, this and that, and adults are standing around them. Where is the culture? Where's the shame? So we have control over that. The mind of a human being is being polluted by what we're watching. You look at CNN, you look at BBC, they're exact copies of one another. They're supposed to be on different continents. They're supposed to be different countries. They're not. It's exactly the same news. You see the same thing with Le Figaro, you see this with Al Jazeera, you see this with others. It's the same thing, essentially. So it's the same narrative going on. No one's saying, what is happening? Why is this happening? We should not stand for this. Why would a person... I'm a Buddhist monk. I'm a Bhikkhu. We have to speak out. Bhikkhus, Buddhist monks, are not that, that wrong image that people have of us, that, oh, we are living in a kuti, we are completely aloof, we are completely avoiding these kind of things in society, we walked away from society, so it's not our thing anymore, it's not our battle. That is never a Buddhist path. Those are irresponsible characters who say such things, who want to save a face, or not, rock the boat type of a thing. No, but if everyone is responsible for this, of course you will get some heat, as they say. Who cares? We have to stand up for our future. And if you leave out virtue, Plato even talked about virtue. Socrates talked about virtue, and they used to splurge. They didn't have the cleanest life, but they still made a point about talking about virtue. We don't have that today. Politicians are lying left and right. Business moguls are lying. They're behaving in ways that you're just like, are these people supposed to be our leaders? The same goes for religious leaders. Vulgar behavior. And there's a tolerance for that. That is stupidity. If you tolerate violence, if you tolerate stupidity, they're equal. Okay? Because if you tolerate stupidity, then you've opened the door for anything and everything. So people have to be held accountable. People have to be... Anyone who goes after destroying what has brought us this far in civilization, in culture, anyone who is sullying, like people try tossing oil and paint at the Louvre and other places, valuable artwork. Some idiot fools, woke this and that, who have never actually done any work in their life, don't know the meaning of hard work, they don't have any education, no experience, having an opinion all of a sudden. You're not entitled to an opinion unless you've lived on this planet for some time, have earned a living, have worked for a living, have done something good for somebody else who's alive, not some idea that you're completely driven by what is on Netflix or on YouTube or on Facebook. These are not real. These are not real. The harm that we're causing to society is real, however. That person who goes and tosses a bucket of paint upon a Van Gogh or a painting anywhere, or a statue, that person needs to be punished. How about we punish them by having them clean up the whole neighborhood of graffiti? Or, even better, next phase of the punishment would be to place them in front of a blank canvas and have them draw a tree, paint a tree properly, and never leave that canvas until it's done, so that they could appreciate what it means to actually hold a canvas in front of you, a brush, and work to learn to have the muscle-eye, muscle-hand coordination, to understand the laws and of perspective, to try to capture, to utilize your imagination vis-a-vis the world around you. This is the beginning of a culture right there, because the person is evolving oneself. This culture doesn't have anything to do with evolution. They're just living off of the credit of previous generations, period. The least they can do is to have the audacity to say, we don't know, teach us. What they're teaching in school is about, oh, genders are so fluid, this and that. Like, these people have to be taken off education at all. They have no place polluting the minds of children. No university should accept any such professors who say, well, ethical fluidity. No. The traditional values have to be brought back. They have to be brought back if we are to survive. Otherwise, this is a bus that's going maximum speed with limitless fuel without any brakes. And we're all in it. We're all in it. It's not like that movie, you know, with Speed that came out in the early 90s, I think, or mid-90s. With Keanu Reeves, the hero protagonist, saving the day with the bus. No, we don't have that. We're not that lucky. We have, however, our integrity to defend. And the sense of shame is absolute must. I think that's enough.